When I was born, I really didn't have a choice to become a musician or not, because it was just predestined that I had to be either a violinist or a pianist or something musical, because on one side, on my mother's side, I have 4 generations of professional musicians dating all the way back to 1889. But of course I was very lucky because I had the best teachers, I had the best surrounding, with the best talents. I was right in the middle of the Russian musical world, and what a world it was. It gave me a tremendous discipline, and what's more important, I think, what I learned, not only from the violin class, the whole atmosphere of Moscow Conservatory. We could go and hear a lesson of great pianist Yakov Zak, his class, Rostropovich class. Every summer, David Oistrakh asked me to play. There was a tremendous level of knowing nothing but the best. And I grew up, of course, with my mother, Bela Davidovich, who was one of the very top pianists. I inhaled the highest level of professionalism. And I clearly grew up with 3 great influences from the recordings. There was Fritz Kreisler, of course, Jascha Heifetz, and Yehudi Menuhin. And Menuhin, I remember I played for the first time when he visited Central Music School. But later on, I had the great fortune of having quite a number of concerts, and also recorded Elgar Concerto with him conducting. It's very, very special, incandescent presence. When you have 2 great parents, the expectations are doubled. I was supposed to walk on water by the time I was 7 years old. For me, it was more important personally to get away from my background. Because no matter what I did, in my mind or in the mind of people who once heard my father, who died at 32 when I was 3 years old, so I had no direct recollection of him playing, mostly recordings and everything. And I was always compared to him. And I came to New York where they didn't know who my father was, my mother, no one. So I started from scratch, and that was the most liberating thing I've ever done. I went to the Juilliard school to apply. There was a week of late exams. In 3 days, I was accepted. And Galamin took me, to his class without any assistance, and I had a lesson with him at least once a week, and if he had a little empty spot, he'd listen more, and we had a wonderful relationship. He was a very, very special man. Yeah, I've been blessed really to have performed and recorded with some of the greatest legendary now names of the world of music. Neville Mariner, I've performed with Claudia Abbado, Maris Janssens. As a violinist, I've made probably over 40 different recordings. When I turned 35, I started conducting by building a chamber orchestra of my own. One of the biggest ideas that I had as a conductor was always to have my own sound. Because if I pick up any violin, I will have still my sound. The same thing should be happening with the orchestra. Greensboro was a surprise visit, first as a violin soloist, and then they were looking for a music director. So they, would you come back the following season as one of the candidates? The rest is history. I mean, I've been there, my goodness, since 2003, so that makes already 16 years. And the orchestra, of course, been growing and getting my kind of music philosophy. I've played and conducted more than 300 different orchestras in probably, certainly more than 50 different countries. I became totally obsessed by the latest recording of Glenn Gould of the Goldberg Variations. I thought, why don't I, just for my own amusement, I started writing it out for string trio, having never done anything like that. But I've been trained, of course, in Moscow Conservatory, polyphony, and somehow this transcription just came out like it was meant to be. And so that started my whole sort of new sideline as a transcriber and expanding the repertoire, which of course happened very much. As of today, I think I've transcribed more than 60 different works. I just love doing it. I think it's something that just appeals to me. It must be maybe an expression of a frustrated composer, because I always say that had my father lived, I would have tried to become a composer, and then maybe eventually a conductor. And, you know, as a result, I did become a conductor, but I also, you know, transcribe and therefore contribute something to the repertoire. I love a polyphonic approach because at the end of the day, we accumulate enough stories of our own, and then we put them in everything we touch creatively, whether it's playing, whether it's conducting, whether it's chamber music, whether it's, you know, programming, whether it's making a public speech, whatever. You know, you become an artistic force. I've had a career as a violinist, conductor, arranger, festival director, and many other things. And that's what makes my life full. I like to have a full plate. I have an enormous appetite for arts and for life in general.